My next Patreon question is from Sonia, who wanted me to compare two movies based on properties I greatly enjoyed in my childhood. Which is better, Captain Underpants or Inspector Gadget? What do these have in common? Well, the original source material deal with heroes who were not necessarily the brightest, and in their battles against evil villains, there are often others who help them in their heroics. In Captain Underpants' case, it's the young pranksters George and Harold, while Inspector Gadget is guided by his niece Penny. Now, longtime viewers might remember I have a genuine soft spot for the live-action Inspector Gadget movie, so it may come as a bit of a surprise that of these two movies, I prefer Captain Underpants. The filmmakers behind Captain Underpants did a lovely job of translating Dave Pilkey's art style to computer animation. It's almost like a combination of the Peanuts movie and Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, and how the movie has a 2D-like appearance while also allowing the characters to have exaggerated arm movements and facial expressions. We get that trademark Captain Underpants comedy, but the movie does not always rely on easy toilet humor. There are many clever sight gags and lines of dialogue throughout the film, and it's even quite biting in how it satirizes the school system. The goal of many elementary and high schools is to stamp any kind of individuality and creativity out of their students. So to see a film like this take that head on is incredibly satisfying. The major characters, George, Harold, Principal Krupp, and Professor Poopy Pants, are all well developed, with motivations and backstories nicely laid out. The relationship between George and Harold is especially sweet, as we see how both of them bond over shared interests. Director David Soren and the team of animators craft so many standout sequences, and have fun with the premise of this grumpy principal who keeps switching back and forth between his alter ego. The movie even ends with a theme song sung by Weird Al Yankovic. Soren took his silly book series and embraced the silliness, resulting in something very funny and entertaining. As for Inspector Gadget, I'm well aware I'm in the minority in enjoying this movie, and no, I don't view it as a guilty pleasure. I genuinely like it. An argument can definitely be made that a large reason for that is the nostalgic element. I was an avid watcher of the cartoon, and this was one of the first movies I got seriously hyped to see. I then watched it countless times on video, but I still have fun with the movie whenever I put it on. I think Matthew Broderick is an underrated actor, and I thought he gave the necessary amount of wide-eyed enthusiasm as we see him get used to these new abilities that have been surgically added to him. Additionally, the Dr. Claw in this movie is the exact polar opposite of the one for the cartoon, but Rupert Everett still gives an hilariously over-the-top performance as he plots his evil deeds. One thing I especially want to compliment the movie on is the special effects. Stan Winston was responsible for the mechanic effects in the movie, and he did a superb job. The seamless blend of computer-generated and practical effects needed to bring Inspector Gadget to life still hold up remarkably today. Director David Kellogg also brought the necessary zip and energy to the action sequences. Is the movie perfect? Well, no. Turning the Gadget-mobile into a wisecracking sidekick for Gadget was an unusual decision that does not entirely pay off. You could also tell quite a bit was cut from the film, which is why it's surprisingly short for a summer action tentpole at 78 minutes. The trailers feature a number of shots that are not in the final cut, which means an extended director's cut is sitting somewhere in the Disney vault. Nonetheless, I do find Inspector Gadget to offer a funny, creative, and entertaining adventure, even if it's not an entirely faithful adaptation of the source material. I did a larger overview of the movie a few years back, where I go into more detail on why I like it. I probably know the answer, but I'll still ask you whether you prefer Captain Underpants or Inspector Gadget, and thank you for your question, Sonia.